So first off, Sarah, what was in this rescission bill and how does it impact KCUR's budget going forward?
Well, there were over $9 billion in the rescission bill, but about $1.1 billion of that was designed for and specifically for public media. That, of course, is for all public media stations across the country,
Right.
television and radio. And what that means for KCUR specifically and classical KC is an instant loss of for this year's budget that we were planning on of over $500,000.
That's a lot of money, Sarah.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of money that was already budgeted and already allocated. Sorry, Steve, it's been a long night.
It's been a long night. Well, Lisa, what does it take to keep this news operation going? I mean, how many people are working on our content day in and day out throughout the organization?
It takes a lot of people to bring you this content, more than the number of people you hear on the radio and more than the bylines you see on KCUR.org. Our content team here has about 39 full and part-time employees. That includes people who are producing podcasts, People's History of Kansas City, Kansas City Today. That includes you and your talk show team here. 5 people that are bringing you an hour of live radio every single day. It includes our reporters. It includes editors, because everything, it's not as simple as writing something and publishing it online. There are so many levels it takes before we can present a news story confidently and accurately. And it also includes people who are part of collaborations here. So that's not necessarily people based in Kansas City, but they're in Columbia, or they're in Topeka, or they're in smaller towns across Missouri and Kansas, because it's important to us not just to represent this metro, but also to provide reliable information where in places where they don't have such a rich media landscape as we do here.
So, Sarah, I mean, why is public media so important in your view? What makes it different from other forms of media? Why should we be so concerned about this?
Well, there's a couple of things that make us different. Number one, we are driven by our mission and not the profit motive. And there's nothing wrong with a profit motive, but that's not what drives us. So we make decisions based on what our audience needs or wants, or on how to best serve them. And so what that results in is that Lisa has folks on her team that are focused on education reporting, on health reporting, on arts reporting. You hear that every day on KCUR, and I'll just tell you that might not be commercially viable journalism anymore, but it is important journalism, and we know that it's something that our community needs, and so we use what is invested in us to provide those needs and to serve that local audience.
Lisa?
I just want to add, because it also means that we can be in places that others aren't. There are, I'm thinking of small towns in Kansas, Marysville, Kansas, for example, where there isn't a big, huge newspaper there because they can't make money there. But the small town newspaper still needs to serve its audience as well. And through our collaborations like the Kansas News Service, that content that we produce and that we pay to produce is free to them. And that's the difference between being driven purely by mission and being in a nonprofit newsroom versus being driven by profits.
Yeah. So we're driven by mission. Our content is free. Those are two very important distinctions.
Right.
But the third distinction is because there's a lot of free content out there, but you can't trust it. You don't know what's accurate, what's real journalism, what is truthful, what lacks context, all that stuff. Unless you are on one of our platforms reading or consuming one of our stories, you already know you can trust that content. And I think that is an even more valuable service today than it was a year ago or 5 years ago or 50 years ago.
So as we're sitting here this morning talking, Sarah, more than $1 billion is leaving the public media ecosystem here. What does this mean for the future of public media in this country?
Well, I think we don't know. We don't know yet. There are a lot of people a lot smarter than I am thinking about that and working on solving that issue together. And KCUR is part of those conversations at the national level, but also at the regional level. And we're trying to figure that out. That's the long run. Today, we have an urgent need, and we've got to lock down and reinforce the infrastructure that we have here to buy ourselves some time to figure out that long-term answer.
Lisa, you're a lot younger than I am, and I'm wondering if you look at your career going forward in public media, how concerned are you about the future of public media?
I am determined today, as I come into work, to make sure that we are sustainable long into the future. And I don't have any doubt that public media will continue to exist. It existed long before the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and it will continue to exist long after. What we have to do right now is make a big disruptive change, and this rescission of funding does upend everything we're doing. We have to figure out and scramble to continue to offer these services. We will figure it out, but not without the help and support of our community.
So moving forward, and that's one focus of our conversation here this morning, Sarah, I'm sure people are wondering how they can support the work this newsroom does here at KCUR. How can we do that going forward?
Well, our local community has always been our largest source of funding and support. And so I would say the way you can be of most help right now is to continue that support for those who are able and are fortunate enough, increase that support. And the third thing that you can do is really be our ally in the community and be an advocate and an ambassador for us, because we need not just to ask the folks who support us to support us more. We need more folks to support us. There's this is basic math. And for those of us that are journalism majors, that math wasn't usually our favorite subject. But in my mind, we need more folks to support us, and we need the folks who support us to support us more.
Okay, well, that's Sarah Morris, the general manager here at KCUR. She's a member of the NPR board. Also joining us, Lisa Rodriguez, the KCUR interim director of content and journalism. Thank you both very much.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Steve.
it.